Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to break down the sheer chaos and historic milestones of the unforgettable 2026 World Cup bronze final in Miami. If you ever thought third-place matches were just glorified exhibitions, well, you are in for a wild ride today.
Okay, let's just get right to the headline here. 10 goals. We saw 10 goals scored in this match, making it a completely ridiculous 6-4 shootout that completely broke defensive shapes, absolutely exhausted the players in the Miami Heat, and totally rewrote the history books. Honestly, it felt way less like a traditional football match and a lot more like an NBA All-Star game. Setting the stage, heavy rotations in the Miami Heat.
Before the madness even kicked off, both of these teams stepped onto the pitch nursing some serious semifinal heartbreak, rolling out vastly different starting 11s. Both Didier Deschamps and Thomas Tuchel made 7 massive lineup changes. France actually benched major stars like Ousmane Dembélé, Aurélien Tchouameni, and Jules Koundé. And on the flip side, England sat their captain Harry Kane, goalkeeper Jordan Pickford, and Jude Bellingham. It really set the stage for a fragmented, wildly unpredictable opening, where both squads were just trying to find their rhythm with essentially brand new formations.
The first half route, England runs wild.
What followed the opening whistle was just an absolute demolition job by England. It left the French defense completely stunned. Just 2 minutes in, Declan Rice intercepts a poor ball and unleashes a strike that left the French keeper, Mike Maignan, with absolutely no chance. And that right there opened the floodgates. Soon after, a brilliant ball from Rice finds Ezri Konsa, who beats his man to head in his first ever World Cup goal. From there, Bukayo Saka just took over, capitalizing on Marcus Rashford's cutback for an easy tap-in, and then turning on a dime to make it 4-0. The French defense was just getting sliced through from every conceivable angle. Amidst this unbelievable barrage, England officially netted the 300th goal of the entire 2026 World Cup tournament. There were smiles all around for the team in white, while the French bench, well, they looked like a thunderstorm had just rolled in over Miami. You know, the broadcast commentary really hit the nail on the head, capturing the shock of it all. They pointed out that they hadn't seen France defend or track back at all, calling it an absolute shambles for 37.5 minutes. France's attacking players were just staying up, leaving these massive pockets of space for England to exploit without any pressure to stop them. So, the really crucial point here is that we were witnessing something incredibly rare. 1958, that was the last time France trailed by 4 goals in a World Cup match. We were literally watching a collapse that hadn't happened to the French national team in nearly 70 years. They were second best in every single phase of the game.
France's furious comeback, flipping the script.
But just when you thought the whole thing was an absolute rout, the second half starts and the script is completely flipped. It's crazy how perfectly the second half mirrored the first. First half, England is dominant, going up 4-0 while the French defense is wide open. Second half, France becomes explosive, bagging 3 quick goals, because suddenly England's attacking players stopped tracking back. England started leaving the exact same massive spaces for players like substitute Bradley Barcola, who immediately exploited it with a near-post finish to spark the comeback. It was a bizarre, almost literal mirror image of the first 45 minutes.
History books rewritten. Mbappe and Saka shine.
Right in the middle of this unbelievable, chaotic momentum swing, 2 of the sport's biggest stars stepped up and began shattering all-time records. With 2 blistering second-half goals, both orchestrated by brilliant passes from Michael Olise, including this jaw-dropping outside-of-the-foot assist, Kylian Mbappe officially surpassed Lionel Messi to become the greatest goal scorer in World Cup history. So even in the midst of total team chaos, individual greatness really shone through for France. Over on the other end of the pitch, Bukayo Saka was putting on a performance of historic magnitude as well. After Jed Spence makes a brilliant attacking run and draws a foul to win a penalty, Saka steps up and calmly converts it. That goal makes it 5-3, and in doing so, Saka joins an incredibly exclusive club. He became only the 4th Englishman ever to score a World Cup hat-trick, joining the ranks of Geoff Hurst, Gary Lineker, and Harry Kane. A 10-goal grand finale, the final frantic minutes.
At 5-3, with the clock ticking down, this match transitioned into an all-out chaotic sprint to the final whistle. Tactics? Completely dissolved into pure electric football. France dragged themselves right back into it once again. Substitute Ousmane Dembélé finds himself out wide, utilizes a brilliant little hesitation move to sit down his defender, drops his shoulder, and fires the ball past Dean Henderson, who, by the way, had been making fantastic saves all match. That strike was Dembélé's 6th goal of the tournament, and suddenly we are looking at 5-4. The tension was just palpable. But the exclamation point on this entire, unbelievable afternoon was delivered by Jude Bellingham. Coming on as a substitute, Bellingham wins the ball back, utilizes a brilliant step over and cutback to leave the defender for dead, and shows total composure to grab the game's final goal. A 6-4 victory for England. Just a bit of hard running, a bit of flair, and he grabs the moment perfectly.
That late strike wasn't just a match sealer either. It was monumental for the player himself. With that goal, Jude Bellingham became the first English player to ever score 7 goals in a single World Cup tournament. An absolutely stunning individual achievement to cap off the team's victory.
The fallout. What comes next for France? As the dust settles on this fantasy-level football match, one that gave us 10 goals, a mirrored collapse, and multiple broken records, we really have to look at what this historic defensive disaster means for the future of the French national team. It leaves us with one massive lingering question heading into the next World Cup cycle. After 14 years in charge and following a historic, uncharacteristically disastrous 4-0 first-half collapse where his team looked completely devoid of all intensity, is this the end of Didier Deschamps' tenure as manager? When a former world champion defense looks that shambolic, changes usually follow. So what do you think comes next for France? It is definitely something we're going to keep an eye on. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.